Hey guys, so apologies for the wonky setup. We are still in the process of moving and I am just trying to get some videos put together for you guys so that we don't get too far behind. Now, welcome to yet another episode of Behind the Screen. Today we are going to be talking about building one-shots. Now, this is something that has actually come up twice in the past week. Even with the move, I helped my friend Jeremy build a one-shot for our game on Sunday, because we ended up doing a one-shot instead of running part of our campaign. And then my nephew, Kyle, actually texted me today because he wants to run his very own first D&D game. And so we talked a lot today via text about how to build encounters. And I figured, all right, I think I need to make this. Now, I haven't actually run many one-shots, and I've actually never actually built one on my own, but I've built enough encounters to kind of understand what you need, the building blocks that you need in order to achieve your goal when you're trying to build a one-shot. So let's talk through it. First of all, you need a story hook. You need an idea for what you want your players to do. So this could be as simple as, I don't know, the children in the town have gone missing. Or actually the two things that I've talked about this week have been about people going missing. Either the entire town went missing or children have gone missing. But basically your story hook is like one paragraph about the plot of the game. This is the blurb on the back of a dust jacket on a book, or the description of a movie or a TV show on Netflix, I don't know. But yes, so what are you trying to get the party to achieve? You want them to save the day, usually defeat the bad guy, but you need to figure out who is the bad guy. So you kind of follow the same rules, at least in my mind, you follow the same rules as sort of like the who, what, where, when, how, why. So the who is usually your big bad, some kind of villain. Now they may have henchmen along the way that people are gonna have to get through, or traps or puzzles and that sort of thing. But first focus on what is the main objective for, who are your party trying to go after? Usually is this a goal that they're trying to achieve, whether that's rescue all the villagers or find a relic that they are, searching for. Your story could be as simple as the missing, everything's missing. Why do I keep saying missing? The magical sword of Ryodan has been rumored to be in the catacombs beneath the city. Your job is to find it. Now, who knows what's in the catacombs underneath the city? But there could be a bad guy down there. There could be a variety of bad guys down there. It could just be that there isn't a main villain. It could just be a series of encounters along the way till you get to the final thing, and then there's a big puzzle and you retrieve the sword, sort of Sword in the Stone-esque. But identifying that objective is very, very important, because that's what your whole story is going to run around. Then also defining the location. So I just said the catacombs underneath the city. It could be anywhere. It could be the plains outside of a village in the middle of nowhere. It could be in the bustle of a major metropolitan city. It could be on the ocean. It could be underwater. It could be, literally, it could be anywhere. Now, if you have a particular type of creature that you want to use as a monster, perhaps they have a favorite terrain. So something like, let me think, something like anything that's underwater, whether that's a kraken or some sort of siren or something like that. Those are going to be sort of water-based. You probably have to stick with a water location, or if you're doing some sort of an owl bear, let's say, that's going to be a forest encounter. So sometimes if you picked your monster, it'll help you pick your location, but otherwise you can pick anything and then sort of work your monsters in around it. That's not a problem at all. And let's see, so if you do have a big bad, what are their motivations? Understanding why they're doing it can help you actually work backwards as to what caused this to happen in the first place. So the one shot that Jeremy ran on Sunday, the motivation of the big bad was to imbue an amulet, a necklace, with magical power because it was being turned into a phylactery. That's pretty big stuff. Now, the reason everyone in the city went missing is that he needed everyone's souls in order to do that. So everyone got turned into air because there's an air portal there to the air elemental plane, and he was using the power of the air elemental plane in order to transfer their souls into the phylactery. Pretty cool stuff. Now, I gave the story hook of everyone in the city had gone missing, and I gave a story hook of a cursed amulet, but I didn't know what Jeremy was going to do with it. So it was very fun to run that with him, and he took these two very disparate ideas and put them together to create a multi-layered dungeon that we had to go through and puzzles that we have to solve. Oh, puzzles, yes. So puzzles. Puzzles and traps are definitely something fun that you can add in that gives it a little bit extra spice than you would normally have. I'm terrible at puzzles, so that's something that I need to work on myself, but traps are really fun. There are tons and tons and tons of resources for traps online, or you can come up with them yourself. It can be anything from a pit trap that they fall into to something very complex, meaning like think Star Wars and the trash compactor. I mean, you can do anything you want. You probably want there to be a way out unless you're really planning on killing the whole party. Which reminds me, it's a one-shot. If you kill the whole party, it's okay. Definitely talk to your players in advance if you're planning on making it so hard that they might die, just so that they know that it could be coming. But usually for a one-shot, people are making one-off characters for your one-shot. So you have the ability to be like, oh, sorry, Varys died. Everybody will survive. Like, I wasn't super attached to my character. There was a good chance that she was gonna die at one point, and I was like, that's kind of a bummer, but also kind of cool. She's gonna go out in a blaze of glory. Fun, let's do it. And she didn't end up dying, but it was fun to know that the stakes were so low because it was a one-shot that I didn't feel bad about her dying. And as the DM in that situation, you have to feel a little bit bad because someone put time and effort into their character, but it's not going to ruin the rest of the campaign. Someone's not going to have to come up with a whole new character, and you're going to have to weave in a new backstory and come up with new story hooks that build into an entire campaign, like I would have done if Celadril had actually died in my homebrew campaign that we've talked about before. So let's see. So we've talked about location, we've talked about monsters, we've talked about objectives, we've talked about, what else did we talk about? Oh, we talked about killing off people. So depending on how long you think your one shot is gonna go, you can plan out multiple encounters. You can also plan out encounters and then take them out if people are doing other things. You don't have to run them if you write them. You can save them for another time. That's totally fine. And then also puzzles, like I said before, definitely substitute for battles. If you have people in your group who enjoy solving puzzles, they're puzzlers. It just depends on the type of players, and hopefully you know a little bit about your players before you're going into creating this, but you never know. A little bit of puzzle, a little bit of fight, it strikes a good balance. So let's see, other things to remember. Always make sure you're determining what level you want your players' characters to be. So if you're having people build characters specifically for the game, then make sure that you tell them what level you want them to be, because you will build the encounters, the challenge rating of the monsters and their hit points. You'll want to know that so that you can build an encounter that's going to be fun, that's not too easy, that's not too hard. Let's see. Plant fun loot. I wrote this down on my laptop. Plant fun loot. Definitely, if this is a one-shot that you know you're not going to play again, you could totally plant some really sweet loot at the end of the game, or just randomly in a dungeon somewhere, or basically anything can happen in a one-shot. Just stay open-minded to, even if it's a game-breaking piece of loot, it could be really fun to have, because it might be the only opportunity for a character to have something that is that epic. So it could be really fun. It could also be really dangerous. It could be cursed somehow. You never know. And then, yeah, like I said before, it's okay for players to die. Just make sure you tell them in advance that there's that possibility, otherwise they might get blindsided. Yes, so beyond that, actually building it out requires just sitting and thinking through all the things you want the players to experience. Make sure that you've thought out a few NPCs who they can interact with and ask questions, because wherever they are, they're probably going to be talking to people and trying to figure something specific out that you want them to figure out. So at least come up with a couple NPCs and then have a few names on hand just in case. That's a good rule of thumb for when they ask to go talk to the blacksmith and you're like, I didn't come up with a blacksmith. So that's a really great idea. And when you're building your actual combat situations, your fights, it is also a really good idea to have pre-mapped out sort of what you think that those different enemies are going to do. So looking at their stat block, looking at what their abilities are, and thinking about how they're going to move as a group, if it's multiple or if it's just one of them, how they would fight in that fight. Just having thought about it a little bit in advance may help you a lot when you get into the thick of battle. But yeah, that's it. I think that's it. A lot of it comes down to your own creativity and being able to work sort of on the fly and come up with things as you move along. So that is the fun of being able to innovate and collaborate together with your friends. It is really, really fun, and you never know what's gonna happen. So I think that's gonna be it today, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, support us on Patreon. I promise we're gonna have a studio again one day. Today's not that day. And I guess I will see you guys on the next adventure. Bye, guys.